Today's Tuesday tip is to never reveal your film's exact budget. One question filmmakers get asked all the time after finishing a project is, what was the budget? And here's a small piece of advice that a lot of people in the industry eventually learn the hard way. You should never, ever give the exact figure. Instead, give price ranges. You can say something like, it was under $1 million, around $500,000, or north of $1 million. That kind of language is very normal in the film and television business, but giving someone the exact number can actually work against you. The reason has to do with something in film and TV called production value. Production value isn't what something actually costs to make. Production value is what it looks like it costs to make. A big part of being a good producer is taking the resources you have and making the project appear bigger on screen than the number on the spreadsheet. If you can take $100,000 and make that film look like it cost $1 million, that's not luck, that's skill, and that's experience. That's knowing where the money actually shows up on screen. Maybe you put the money into locations instead of gear. Maybe you pulled favors from friends. No one needs to know the nitty-gritty details of how you got it done. They just need to know, what does that final film look like it costs to make? Maybe you relied on talent collaborations. Maybe you were calculated about your scheduling and you got more out of every dollar spent. All of those decisions contribute to production value. But here's where revealing your budget can actually hurt you. The moment you tell someone the exact number, you remove the illusion. Let's say someone watches your film and thinks, wow, this looks like it cost $1 million to make. That's exactly the reaction you want. But if you then say, well, actually, can you believe we only made this for $100,000? You might think you're actually giving yourself a pat on the back by saying, look what I did with so little, but you're revealing too much and you need to keep that private. Now you've suddenly reframed how they evaluate your project. Now they're thinking of it as a low-budget film instead of just reacting to what they saw on screen. The opposite problem can also happen as well. If someone thinks your film was made cheaply, but the budget was actually higher, revealing the number can make people start to wonder, where did that money go? One other reason you want to be really careful and selective about the information you give regarding your budget is distribution deals. If a distributor or a buyer knows the exact amount that you spent or invested into a film, that number can start to influence the offers that you get. Distribution companies are businesses. They're constantly evaluating risk and return. If they know your film cost $100,000, they may structure an offer assuming you're desperate to recoup that amount. But if the film looks like it cost $1 million, they're evaluating it based on what they see on screen, not the number on the budgetary spreadsheet. In other words, the perceived value of a film can affect how it's positioned in the marketplace. And once you reveal the real number, you lose all control of that perception. Because if someone is watching your film and they assume it cost far more than it actually did, that's not something you want to correct. That's something you want to take as a compliment and use to your advantage. And that is why it is today's Tuesday tip.